So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If I could have my first slide, please. A series of questions. Do you believe that you are a sum total of the decisions that you have made up to this point? Yes? The person you are right now is a result of the decisions that you have made that have led you to this point. Do you believe that? Yes or no? Yes. All right. Those are your words, so do not hang me as I continue. So here's another question. So whose fault is it that you are in your current financial state? Whose fault is it that you're in your current financial state? Could anyone, what's the answer? Hiya, Pastor has said him. Anyone else? You're shaking your head. It has nothing to do with you. No one. You blame no one. You blame yourself. Okay. Does anyone, are we agreeing that we are the reason we are where we are financially? Is that what we're agreeing with? Or is there somebody who's just like, yo, me, I have nothing to do with that. There's like the economy, inflation, COVID, like I have nothing to do with that. Like me, I'm just this, All right. So I know that must feel like vinegar coming out of your mouth, right? You don't want to be the one to be blamed for your own financial state, but the truth ain't pretty, but it sure will set you free. So the first thing that I'd like us to acknowledge is that, as we have said, we are the sum total of our decisions. The choices we have made have led us to our current financial state. Believe me, I take no pleasure in saying that, because that means I am also responsible for my current financial state. And by the way, I'm actually in debt. I have debt. They're like, I'm in part of an investment group and haven't been able to pay subscription I thought it was only this year. Then the treasurer is bringing out their list. No, you stopped paying last year, September. I'm just like, what on earth? Like, why? I was so sure I was in the red only for this year. Debt. So here's the thing. We might rationalize that there's some external forces, that have affected us, and fine. COVID hasn't made life easy. I'll give you that. It doesn't help that fuel prices are up. Some of us used to survive on fuel prices, which I will not say. Now those fuel prices cannot take us anywhere. The price of flour. I went shopping yesterday to buy some flour, and I was just like, okay, tutawacha kula chapati for some time. But those are the exceptions. Even before COVID came, were you where you wanted to be financially? Even before COVID, before even the fuel prices, before the price of unga went up, were you where you were when you wanted to be financially? Did we have systems in place to protect us from these unforeseen challenges? That's the question that I am asking you. That's the question that I have been asking myself. I know the answer to my question. That is an unfortunate resounding no. Last week, we saw how Joseph intentionally set aside a fifth of all the grain of Egypt so that the country would be able to survive the impending famine. Do we have measures to cushion us during hard times? Or are we living from hand to mouth? Barely making ends meet and hoping that by some miracle, things will work themselves out. Don't worry, that has been me on a number of occasions. I was the person who was praying for money, but unfortunately, God doesn't give you money. It's what Pastor Martin was saying in the morning. He'll give you an opportunity. Are you taking advantage? So I have news for you. God has given you the power to change your financial state. And that's why the title is, You've Got the Power. God has given you the power to be able to change your own financial state. And if you don't believe me, let's see what the Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 8 from verses 17 to 18. Next slide, kindly. Let me read that for you. Be careful not to say, my own ability and skill have gotten me this wealth. You must remember the Lord your God, for he is the one who gives ability to get wealth. Let me repeat that. for he is the one who gives ability to get wealth. Some Bibles say make wealth, some Bibles say create wealth. The point is, he helps you generate wealth, create wealth. Now, God here was reminding the Israelites where the blessings came from. However, he was also telling them that he has given them the power to prosper and make wealth. In other words, he's given them the skills, the creativity, the strength, the brains to come up with ways that they can generate wealth. So the only question is, what is stopping us from generating wealth? What is stopping me from generating wealth? What is stopping you from generating wealth? That is what I hope I will answer today. Why are we not able to translate this verse into reality? We keep on reading these verses. This actually was my theme verse for this year. Why have I not been able to generate wealth? Surely we're in September. I've been meditating on this verse for 9 months. Why am I not able to make it a reality? I'm also asking myself that question. I told you I am not in the, it was ludicrous to be given this topic given my current financial state, that hey, I'm learning in the process. So I have 2 reasons why this might be the case. Next slide, please. Could it possibly be that we have the wrong motive? Hands up, how many of you want to be wealthy? How many of you want to be wealthy? Hey, I'm surprised some people's hands are not up. I want to be wealthy. You know, like wealthy. Like as in 4th, 5th generation wealthy. That's what I want to be. If wishes had horses. But here's the thing. I have another question for you. Why do you want to be healthy? Not healthy. Wrong sermon. Why do you want to be, that's another sermon for a different day. But why do you want to be wealthy? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask anybody to have a microphone and say your reason, but why do you want to be wealthy? Just give yourself a second to actually just ask yourself that question. I've asked myself that question, and I had some good reasons and not some good, and some reasons which were not as stellar. Here's the thing. Do you want to be wealthy so that you can build your kingdom or God's kingdom? Pause for reflection. The pastor is pointing at himself. I want to build my own kingdom. I'm telling you this week, you know the way you're preparing for a sermon and you have no clue where you're supposed to begin, and so you listen to other preachers preaching on money, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, like, no wonder I am poor the way I am. Why? Yeah, so I've had to make my own self-reflections. And I realized I wanted to build my own kingdom. Okay, that's not entirely, like, of course, yes, we're going to preach the gospel, we're going to tithe, but I wanted, in essence, to build my own kingdom. I have my whole vision board. By next 10 years, by 40, you know, I'm buying the house, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and of course, I've already given the tithe, but it was really what I want to build for my own kingdom. And unfortunately, I thought they were the same thing. I thought God's kingdom was my kingdom. But God was just like, child, yeah, you are high on some weed that has yet to be discovered by Nakada. Here's the thing. God is the owner of all resources. He is the owner of all wealth. And we are merely managers of his wealth. The wealth we have is to build his kingdom, not ours. Do you remember the thing, the Lord's Prayer? Let your will be done, your kingdom come, thy will be done, right? How many times are you actually saying, my will be done, my kingdom come? Yeah. Imagine having a foreman at your plot of land, and you are entrusting him with construction material to build your house, right? Then you come back and you find an empty plot, and he has used your materials to construct his own house on his own plot. How would you feel? Betrayed. Used. Would you trust that foreman with resources again? It'd be like, it's been real, you are dead to me. And that is the same way that God feels about us. When he gives us resources, but instead of building his kingdom, we're busy building our own kingdom. When instead of using the resources as he dictates, we use them the way we see fit. Second reason, next slide please. Poor management. We're managers, remember? God wants us to grow the resources that he has given us. And in case you don't know, that was the first command that God gave to Adam and Eve in the garden. He told them to multiply his resources, Genesis 1:28. And I don't know why preachers, when they preach that, it's like, fill the earth with babies. I think that's not the only multiplication God was talking about. Like he put them in a garden and there were trees and there were animals, and it's like, take care of this, subdue, have dominion over this, as in work this land, as in multiply what I have given you, these here resources. So if we are going to misuse God's resources, he won't give us any more. He will only give us what we can handle. Tough pill to swallow. So the current financial state you are in, that is your own fault, because God cannot trust you with more. Hiyo ni ngumu, si ndio? Hey, I told you, people are not going to like me by the time I'm descending this pulpit. Yeah. Don't worry. I don't like myself for saying these words either, but the truth hurts. The truth hurts. Ask yourself, would you give a 5-year-old 10,000 shillings? Ludicrous. How now? I'm thinking a 5-year-old is my nephew. That child will most likely find scissors and make, those people who you cut it out and then there are people holding hands. That is most likely what you will do with that money. I have seen it. He unfortunately came in contact with a book that I had written. It was the last copy. What did he do? Coloring, ripping. He could not appreciate the book. You know for a fact that a 5-year-old is incapable of utilizing 10,000 shillings. It's just not in their capacity. Maybe, possibly 20 years later, he'll be able to manage, but at that point, he cannot. They themselves would be at a loss at what to do with it. Like, honestly, if I gave my nephew 10,000, he can't even appreciate the value of 10,000. It's just paper to him, honestly. I think he only recognizes coins. Like, if I give him a 10 bob, that is money. Now, I know this is money I have recognized. For him, 10 bob is equals to pin pop. Now, 10 bob, he will utilize well. He will confidently go, give me a lollipop. He has utilized that money well because he can manage 10 shillings. The same principle applies to us. If we are already struggling to give tithe with 1,000 shillings, do you really think God is going to give you 1,000,000? And I know the rationale. When I have that 100,000, Lord, direct to account, I'm going to give you that tithe. God is just like, child, this 1,000, you cannot give me 100 bob. 1,000,000, you'll give me 100,000. I don't think so. Our management of our current resources determines how much we can be trusted with. God delights in blessing us. Don't think he doesn't want to bless us. He does. He actually does. And his blessings are not supposed to add sorrow. But if we're currently not making use of what we have, if the resources we already have are not multiplying them, then why should more be added to us? Why? Why would God reward a poor manager with more resources to ruin? Just look at it in that way. If you're working, you're in an office, are you going to give the employee who comes to work late, is always lamenting, doesn't deliver things on time, are you going to give that employee a bonus? Like, logically speaking. Like, oh, you are the laziest employee, I need to give you a bonus here. Is that what you're going to do? No. You give the bonus to the employee who comes on time, Whatever little they have, they're innovative, they're creative, and they're doing things, and they're mentoring, and you can see they're like, you have put effort, you have made me money, I'm going to give you money from the money that you made me. And mark you, resources are not just money. Resources are things available to us that we can generate profit from. Your oven can be a resource. Did you know that? You can use it to bake cookies and sell. Your old jeans can be a resource. You can make handbags and sell. That once upon a time was one of my genius ideas. I made 2 handbags, which I now carry. They were never sold. Hey, at least I made the handbags. Effort, A for effort. All right? The old books that you have, that you know for sure you're never going to use, donate them. Donate them. If your skill is teaching, you can offer tuition services over the holidays. How many children do you have? Do you know parents don't want to stay with their children? That's the reality. So offer to stay with their children on their behalf. Hey, I'll take your kids every day for 2 hours. Parents will be like, yes, how much? Tutor the kids. You know, if you're a banker, you can hold seminars to train entrepreneurs on basic bookkeeping and business finance. The list is endless. We have so many skills, so many talents, so many resources. If we do not use what we already have to the full, is it really a marvel that God is not adding us more? Tafakari hayo ya baba tafadhali. All right. So what do we do now? Next slide. I know you must be like, this sermon is so depressing. All right. Now that we've discovered that that is our current financial state, and it is unfortunately of our own making, how the heck do we get out? This is the hope I want to give you today. We have seen that God has given us the power to make wealth. So that means that He's given us the brains to think of ways of getting our finances back on track. It's not like we've just been left, we're abandoned to sea, and there's nothing that we can do. He's already given us the skills to get ourselves out of the situation that we are in, if only we would exert ourselves. And Jesus was telling His disciples the importance of counting the cost of them following Him. He used the analogy of a builder and a king going to war to illustrate this. So let me read a passage from Luke chapter 14, from verses 28 to 32. Luke chapter 14, from verses 28 to 32. So let me just read you those verses quickly. For which of you, wanting to build a tower, doesn't sit down first and calculate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? Otherwise, he has laid a foundation and is not going to be able to finish the tower. And all who see it will begin to make fun of him. They will say, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king, going out to confront another king in battle, will not sit down first and determine whether he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he cannot succeed, he will send a representative while the other is still a long way off and ask for terms of peace. So Jesus here clearly wanted his disciples to see how much following him would cost them, so that when they encounter challenges, they would be prepared. They won't be just like, this is not what I signed up for. Like, was it in the fine print? Like, I so did not do this. Yeah. In the same way, we need to make a financial plan so that we are able to weather storms. Now, a budget is a pretty good place to start. I read this somewhere. A budget is telling your money where you want it to go rather than wondering where it went. Right? A budget is telling your money where you want it to go rather than wondering where it went. So, find out what you owe. What are your liabilities? And note, liabilities depreciate in value. They do not generate wealth. That's what a liability is. It does not make you money, it takes money from you. Your oven is a liability unless it is making you money. Unless you're baking from that oven, it is a liability. Your house is a liability because you're paying electricity, you're paying water, you're paying, I don't know, the faucet has broken, I don't know, like, it's taking money from you. Unless umekodisha 7th quarter, then you can say your house is an asset. Right? So liabilities, it does not make you money, it is taking money from you. Your phone is a liability if all you do is Instagram on it. If you're Instagramming and you're generating money from Instagram, your phone is an asset. So next, what do I own? Assets. Assets, in contrary, they appreciate in value and are able to generate wealth. Anything can be turned into an asset. I made sure my phone is an asset. I operate my business from my phone. Or I do business from it, even if it's I'm making phone calls or I'm advertising or I'm uploading videos, like, my phone is an asset. Your car can be an asset if it is taking you to work, right? Or if you sell bananas at the boot of your car. Car is an asset. What makes you money? Next, what do you earn? What is your income? What is your salary? You have a side hustle. What money do you generate from that every week or every month, depending on how you get paid? Then the last one, where the heck does it all go? Where does it go? So just write a list of, I encourage you to actually physically go home and write it out. Like, I had to write my assets. People, I had so many liabilities. I'm like, how do I turn this into an asset? Write out all of your assets physically on a paper and see how you can make them, your liabilities, see how you can make them assets. Write what you earn and write where your money goes. So now here, how to track where your money goes. An easy way to manage your budget is by categorizing it into 4 groups: investments, emergency funds, treats, and living expenses. So before you think that I came up with these innovative categories, let it be known that I borrowed these concepts from a book that I read called The Smart Money Woman. That is the only financial book I was able to read. It is very enlightening, just so you know. It's financial management for dummies with a touch of drama and humor. Anywho, regarding the investments category, about 20% of your income you should set aside to improve your net worth, buy assets that will increase your future income. 20%. So if you earn 100 bob, 20 bob. And don't wait to earn 10,000 so that you set aside 20%. That's also a mistake that I used to make. These days, even if I have 100 shillings, 10 bob tithe, offering, savings. You have to start from some. The thing is, remember last week we talked about building a muscle. We're building the muscle so that when you see money, your mind is already tithe, offering, investments. All right? In other words, these assets should be able to accrue their own income. Like stocks, like land. You need to buy something that can make money when you are asleep. Now, you also need to save a portion for a rainy day, the emergency fund. It is recommended that you should save at least 10% of your salary. Now, I know you're just like, government has already taken 35% tax. God has taken 10% tithe. 10 investment, 20%. You're telling me emergency fund, 10%. Yes. This is how you are going to get out of debt. This is how you're going to be financially free. You never know when your car is going to break down, right? Or when your phone gets thrown out of a second-story window by a 1-year-old and it falls to its demise on the pavement. Next, treats. And as the name suggests, it's a portion of money that you allocate to have fun. I mean, why are you working if you can't even buy yourself chicken on one day? Like, for real. Like, hey, lazima ujiambie mwili, pole. Pole kwa kazi. Umefanya kazi, pole. Take yourself for a massage once in a while. Or buy yourself ice cream. Hata kama ni ya 50 bob, si ni ice cream. Yeah, ni ice cream, ya cone, 50 bob. If you're lucky, Creamine has an offer, 2 for the price of 1. Please note that they should be the smallest portion. All right? If you want to aim for financial freedom, hey, investments need 30, hata hii ni 30. You will die poor, my friend, okay? Yes. It should be a small portion, and it doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be every month, I buy myself Forbes magazine, that's my treat. I want to remind myself that I'm going to be on the Forbes list, top 40 under 40. Bado naweza make your list by this, sijafika. Top 30 under 30 hiyo ilinipita manze. Labda top 40 or under 40. Maybe you can treat yourself to a movie, buy a book, go on a road trip. Just drive to Watamu. Hata una pesa ya kukaa, just drive to Watamu, buy yourself a soda, drive back. You've enjoyed the ride, sindio? Let me tell you, you have to treat yourself, yeah? But stick to your budget allocation. If you have said my treat every month is 1,000 shillings, do not go for 1,050. 1,000 shillings. You have to, and then as your money increases, you increase your investments. You know, if your treat money is 1%, or maybe it's 2%, 2% of 1,000 is, okay, I don't even know those mathematics. Anyway, maybe that's why I can't even stick to my budget. Anyway, if you're 20 bob, 200, thank you. Lucky mathematicians, higher. 2% of 1,000 is 200 bob. Maybe that's it, right? But it's because you have 1,000. Can you imagine that means 2% of 10,000 is 2,000. So you see, the more you're able to generate wealth, that 1%, 2% will grow. But you can't afford to do 2,000 right now, na mshahara ndio hiyo. So let that be an incentive to you. Lastly, indicate your living expenses. These are the things that recur every month. Your rent, your internet subscription, your credit, your house shopping, transport, the like. You might consider canceling a few. You will afford to be late on your rent, but Netflix lazima ilipwe. My friend, priorities need to be right. Keep your priorities straight. Remember to live within your means so that you do not incur expenses. Live within your means. Can you afford your house? Can you afford your house? You know, they say your house needs to be, is it a third, not more than a third of your salary? So can you afford your house? And I know there's pressure. Maybe you're working, I don't know, at work. You have people see you like you're the one with money. You don't even want people to invite you to come to your house because, hey, wataonaje when they say I'm living in a bed sitter. If that's what you can afford, that's it. And there's no shame in that. But live within your means. Do you really need to pay for that Netflix subscription? How much credit are you using? Can you downsize? How much internet? Like, where can you minimize for now so that in the future you can be where you want to be? It's sacrifice, and it's not pretty. But that's what we have to do if you want to get yourself out.